And we can get started.
Okay, great. Hello and welcome to the first Young Leaders for Trails World Forum. This event is organized by the World Trails Network, and we're excited that you've joined us to be a part of it. If you're not familiar with the World Trails Network, we're an international network of people who love trails and are involved in trails in many different ways. And within our group, we have several task teams that you'll be hearing more about today and whose work you may want to connect with. My name is Shay Rabineau, and I'm a co-chair of the Trails and Knowledge Task Team. I'm also a professor who teaches a little bit about trails, and all of us do different things in our World Trails Network roles in our professional lives. So you'll hear a little bit more about that. And I'm joined today by several other leaders from the World Trails Network, including Galio Saints, our chairman, and my task team co-chairs, Julie Judkins and Delia Clark. So welcome again to what we expect will be a very exciting meeting and a great opportunity for all of us to connect. I'm going to turn it over to Delia now. She's going to tell us a bit more about why we're here and what we hope to accomplish today. So over to you, Delia.
Hello, everyone. I'm Delia Clark. I'm joining you today from Brooklyn, New York City, where things are hopping. And it's a pleasure to be with you right now. We are so excited about this meeting. Our goal today is to begin to launch a forum for young leaders to come together in support of trails. We are hoping that this will be a way to connect youth interests with trail interests. And it's exactly that. We care about youth and we care about trails. So let me talk a little bit about that. Youth are the leaders of the future. They constitute right now, or you constitute right now, about a fifth of the global population, and are, along with the rest of us, custodians of the world's biodiversity, trails, and trail systems. And trails matter because they're a significant contributor to all of our personal health, to individual and community health. They make a big difference in the livelihoods of rural communities, and they're a wonderful way to get psychological wellness and a connection between humans and nature. So it feels like a natural connection to have a youth forum talking about how to better shepherd our trails. We are very open to what this could look like, and we're hoping that we'll co-create it starting today. We're hoping it'll be an entry point for people who are interested in being involved in shepherding trails, and that it will provide continuity as youth come and go in the future, looking toward how to let us know about all the world trails and how to pull us into engagement with all the world trails. We're very excited about today, and we're excited about where it might lead. So I'm going to turn this right over to Galio Saints, who's going to tell us more about the World Trails Network.
Thank you, Delia, so much, and welcome to everyone who is on our call today, whether it's your morning time or late evening for you. It's really exciting to see so many young people showing up for a topic that, in my view, is absolutely critical to the future of not just humanity, but also the planet. And that is this need for us to connect. And Delia's mentioned that already, how trails are essentially pathways to human-nature connection. There are also places of solace and escape, and we've all discovered that during this crazy time of the pandemic. And there are also places where we sometimes feel most at home. So the World Trails Network, in a brief nutshell, is a global network of trails and individuals, and is essentially volunteer-led. And we had our genesis in 2012 at the close of what was then the third World Trails Conference. At the time, it took place in Korea on the island of Jeju. At the 11th hour, the conference delegates decided to create a global network for trails, and something that up until then had not existed, and something that I, as one of the delegates, found quite astonishing. Nonetheless, it's 8-9 years later, we find ourselves today a globally recognized network of trails. We have our seat in Geneva in Switzerland, and we work internationally with two hubs. One is Hub for the Americas in the United States that looks at trails in the Americas, and in particular focus on the Central American region, but is networking across North and South America as well. And we have the Asian Trails Network as a hub member that operates in the Asia region. We have various programs and projects that are happening in various parts of the world, and many of them happen collectively through our various task teams, of which there are 7. And these task teams focus on everything from trails and media, to trails and sustainability, to trails and culture, to trails and cities, to even trails and tourism. Many of these focus areas are spaces, particularly where trails intersect with our lives, with society, and with the world at large. So it is my pleasure to invite you all to this session, to this World Forum for young leaders in particular. And I really look forward to us developing here a network of dynamic, passionate, dedicated, inspiring, and creative people who can assist the World Trails Network in making sure we bring not only the youth, but the future with us for trails and into the future. So I look forward to seeing how this collective group unfolds a unique path forward and really brings to the table pertinent issues that trails around the world need to be addressing as they further themselves, as they preserve themselves, and as we continue to bring benefits and joy to the many people that love and use trails. So welcome. I'd like to introduce you actually to our first speaker, which is Oforiwa P, who is from Ghana. And P is a great example of one of the projects that the World Trails Network has been involved in. Really, since 2014, we started reaching out to next generation programs. And to date, we've run 2 expeditions. The first one is what P joined us on in Japan. So over to you, Oforiwa.
Thank you, Galio. So I did meet Galio the first time at the International Trails Conference in Portland, Oregon in 2015. Then following that, we met again at Totori when we went for the World Trails Network expedition. That was the first expedition to Totori, which is in Japan. And Totori is a very beautiful prefecture on the coast of the Sea of Japan. And it's in the least inhabited parts of the country. And then it has lakes, mountains, forests, sand dunes, and a very beautiful, rich culture. So we did make that trip. It was a group of 16 next generation trail visionaries from about 13 countries. We didn't know each other. We only met, and not everyone spoke English. Some spoke Greek, some spoke French, some spoke Spanish, spoke different, or even Chinese. We spoke different languages, but we're all able to commute together and then spend about 10 days moving around to Totori. So out of the 16, we had other next gen trail visionaries from Korea, Australia. I am from Ghana. We had Switzerland, Galio from South Africa. We had Chile, the US, China, Brazil, Russia, and then Taiwan as well. So with that cross-cultural team, we were able to have this young group of leaders where we kayaked the Kenyan coast. We cycled through the valleys, and we hiked around Mount Dyson, and then we even explored the Zen monasteries. We also did some spiritual walks all around the world. So we do have some videos about our expedition and the fun things we did at Totori. We did that in 2017, September 2017. We would encourage everyone to go online and check it out. And then those are just one of the ways you could get involved with the World Trails Network. But there are so many other opportunities for you to get involved, to do a lot more things. And then especially as young people, I feel we are missing that voice in there. So then we'll be glad to hear a lot from you about what you want to suggest, or even trips or anything else you want to plan. So then as we move on with this activity, we hope to hear a lot more from you, and we hope to have you engage more. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. He's also been a member of I work with the Appalachian Trail Conservancy and has been a member of our Next Generation Advisory Council and contributed so many great ideas and advice, and has done similar, advice giving in in other organizations. And I'm just so excited about the potential and possibility for you all to give voice and movement and how the World Trails Network is able to utilize your ideas. So hi everyone, I'm Julie Judkins, one of the co-chairs of the task teams helping facilitate this. And I welcome you all, and I'd love to take a little time to have us get to know each other and see who's on the line. If you could please put in the chat your name and where you're calling in from so we can get a sense of that. But I'm also going to introduce a platform called Toucan that we're going to use for doing some networking and having some dedicated space and fun time to get to know each other and connect. So I'm going to provide a link to Toucan in the chat. And before you click on the link, you will want to, in Zoom, make sure that you are muted and that your camera is turned off before you enter the Toucan platform. And once you're in the platform, you'll see different bubbles. You can move around and you can talk to each other. And there are rooms that look like bubbles. And each of those rooms or bubbles has a question that we encourage you to discuss. And we'll have about 15 minutes total. So try to spend about 5 minutes in each of the bubbles. One of the rooms or bubbles is, what's a favorite thing about your community or your town? What is another bubble or room is, what is the funniest thing that's happened to you on a hike or a walk? And third question is, what are you excited about? And when it's time to come back, we'll come back at 1:10 UTC, or that would be 9:10 Eastern. You'll see a red box in the lower right-hand corner that says to leave space. So you'll click on that on the red box when it's time to come back. I'm going to repeat these directions really quickly before I put the link and all the information into the chat. And thanks everybody for adding in where you're from, where you're calling in from, and your name into the chat. But once again, I'm going to put the link to Toucan in the chat along with a passcode. Please mute yourself on Zoom and turn your camera off on Zoom before entering Toucan. And then you'll have about 15, actually we have more like 20 minutes within this platform to get to know each other. So you'll find different questions, the 3 different questions, to spend about 5 minutes on each of those questions in the space. If anyone has technical difficulties, we will remain on Zoom and do some breakout groups with the same questions. So I've put the link in the chat. I hope everyone has a good time on Toucan, and we'll see you back here at 1:10.
And Julie, if you make me host now, I'll stay in Zoom.
Great.
Does anybody need support getting over to Toucan? Just turn off your video and camera and click the link that's in the chat.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Yes,
Yes.
hi. Hi.
Delia, please,
Yeah.
is asking for password.
Let me get that for you. Um, Let me see if I can get that for you. Just a sec. Oh, I see. It's right here. You know what? Let me put it in again. I got it. So I'm gonna put it to everyone. And then see at the bottom where it says the passcode is 70402061.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
irú ìsìn báyìí ṣé ilé tí èèyàn lè máa lò látàárọ̀?
There's the sacrifice. Hello?
Okay, Delia, we're all piling back into Zoom.
Yay. I just wanted
That was
to.
fun. Thanks
that I-
everyone for testing that out with us as a new space and way to connect. I really appreciate everyone sharing your stories.
And I know there's several of you who couldn't get into Toucan, and I'm sorry I couldn't speak to you, but hopefully you were didn't mind waiting, and I'm glad that we're all back together now.
So, do we have Zach with us? I don't think we do.
I don't
So
think so.
I think now in our program we're gonna skip to Nikki to tell us a little bit about the upcoming conference and how we can all participate. And do we have Nikki with us? We do.
Good, Nikki, thanks.
Hi, Julia.
Hi, Nikki. Can
I'm
you tell
sorry, I couldn't log into Toucan, so something must have gone wrong. I'm sorry. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. My name is Nikki Shrestha. I'm from Nepal, and I'm part of the World Trails Conference team. In Nepal, trails have been an important part of the tourism industry since we've opened up to tourists, to hikers, and to mountaineers since the 1950s. However, hiking has only been popular in Nepal since 2010 among the youth, especially. And we hope in 2022, Nepal will be hosting and leading the trail experts and the trail professionals from across the globe for the World Trails Conference here in Nepal. The conference will aim to expose local Nepali tour operators, trekking guides, and trail custodians to expertise and trends that are shaping trails around the world. The conference takes place once every year, and the first, second, and third conference was held in Korea starting in 2010. Then the conference was held in Japan in 2016 and in Santiago de Compostela in Spain in 2018. Now, Nepal wanted to host the conference here in 2020, but because of the COVID crisis, we were not able to do so. And we hope in 2022, the situation is better and we can still welcome all trail enthusiasts here in Nepal and have a good conference. So yeah, that's all from my side.
Thank you so much. I know I'm excited about the conference. Okay, Galio, right now we would love to take a little bit of time for a few minutes to describe what the World Trails Network structure is like through the task teams and what are these different task teams, and just a tad bit about what it is that they do. Can you lead us through that, please? You're on mute.
Okay, I'm off mute. Sorry, everyone. The task teams of the World Trails Network are essentially a space for all of us to volunteer around particular campaigns, projects, and research that is relevant to trails in most of the world. So the task teams are volunteer driven. They generally have 2 co-chairs who lead them, and they focus on everything from knowledge and trails to media, as I mentioned earlier in the beginning. And we have a number of our task team chairs with us. You can share a little bit about specifically what projects they're pursuing. And this is really the driving force behind the World Trails Network. It's a space that really allows for collaboration and for cross-generation of ideas and for cross-learning. And so it's a vital component of what keeps the World Trails Network going, and is a thrillingly valid space to continue your learning or your studies, and or if you're looking to research anything into trails or trying to influence trails at a global level with your expertise, these task team forums are the place where that can be done. So maybe we can hand over to Kate Harbour, who is the co-chair of the Trails and Cities task team. And Kate, maybe you can share a little bit with us about what you guys are up to in that task team.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, everyone. My name is Kate Harbour, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the Trails and Cities task team. And just in case you want to follow up with me later, my work is in tourism and rural communities. So I help local partners develop and manage the impacts of outdoor recreation. So if you want to talk about that ever, I would love to. But with the work of the task team, we formed in 2018 at the last World Trails Conference to really look at the intersection of trails and communities of all sizes, really where trails can be more than just a tourism destination. So we look at the paths, just outside your door, if you're lucky. I'd say the most exciting thing that's happened with our task team is we were invited to be part of a group from the World Trails Network to go visit a new trail system in the Miyagi Prefecture in Japan that they're building with funds as part of economic recovery from the 2011 tsunami. So that was a really powerful experience, sharing culture and ideas. And I would say one of definitely my highlight experience with the World Trails Network. Currently, we're looking ahead to the conference, a lot of work there to be done. And we're also getting ready to do a Trail Talk presentation on February 3rd, I think, February 3rd, 2022. And so if you have any, our focus will be how COVID has changed folks' perspectives of trails in their communities. So if you have any stories or experiences on that topic that you'd like to share, we would love to hear that. Please reach out. And our test teams are every second Friday of the month at 4 p.m. UTC. So again, if you'd like to participate in that, please reach out and I can drop my email in the chat. Thanks, Galileo.
That's awesome, Kate. Thank you so much. And maybe over to Nat. Nat, are you still there from the sustainability task team?
Nat left because Toucan wasn't working for him, but he thought that maybe Miles could speak for him.
Miles, absolutely. Go for it, Miles. Tell us about what you guys are up to.
Yeah. So in the Trails and Sustainability Task Team, we've a good number of people that show up. But we define sustainability by the triple bottom line. So the connection between environment, economy, and society. And we're also thinking about like the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals and as another way of kind of defining sustainability. And so there are a few projects that are being worked on right now. The biggest one I'd say is a sustainable trails like toolbox, which is at this stage, it's a wiki that has categories to help people who work on trails find resources that they can use to build sustainable trails. Then there's also a green paper that we want to have ready, which is a draft of a white paper by the next climate conference, so relatively soon. Yeah. Then we meet on the last Wednesday of each month at, I don't remember the UTC equivalent time. It would be what, 1 o'clock UTC. Yeah.
Cool, Miles. Thanks so much for that. We've also then got Julie and Shay Odelia, who are in the knowledge team. I don't know if you want to say something now about that quickly.
I'll share a few words about it. So we're the Trails and Knowledge Task Team, and it sounds really big, right? Trails and knowledge, but it's kind of a gathering place for research on trails and what we know about trails and what we want to know about trails. At least that's the idea. So one of the projects that I've been working on, so Delia and Julie have been doing a lot with youth engagement. So they've really been the people who've put together this event. I've been working on laying the foundations for a World Trails report that Galio and I have discussed a fair amount, and basically built around the idea that we don't know much. Researchers don't know much about, for example, how many kilometers of trails there are around the world, right? Nobody's really gone through and looked country by country to try to figure out the trail infrastructure that exists on our planet, and really thought about how much benefit that brings to people. Many trails are built by volunteers, or they're built with a very small amount of money, but then there are whole industries that build themselves around that network of trails. One of the things that we're thinking about is how can we develop knowledge that helps trail planners and developers make a stronger case for trails, right? So that's just one example of the kinds of things we're getting into, but we work with other task teams too, to learn from them. And I just have to say, World Trails Network is a really cool place to learn about trails, because being an American from the United States, I have my own perspective, but in World Trails Network, we have these meetings every month where I'm hearing from people in Nepal, in South Africa, Australia, Taiwan, China. I mean, so there are some really amazing opportunities for all of us to learn. And so if you want to connect with the Trails and Knowledge Task Team, the links are in chat. We would love to have you be part of it.
That's awesome, Shay. Maybe I'll quickly then summarize some of the other task teams that we don't have our chairs on this call, unfortunately. One is Trails and Tourism. This is a really important task team in that trails drive a huge amount of revenue for local communities, and tourism is a big driver of that. One of the projects that they've been championing is a program called the Green Flag Trail System, and that looks at the sustainability of trails using specific metrics, and it accredits trails that are under good management, under responsible environmental management, and trails that have accurate information describing them. So this is an interesting intersection of when we today, everyone can take their smartphone and you can get a Trails app on there. I mean, everyone here knows about Trails apps. You can find all sorts of data. A lot of that data on Trails apps is volunteer contributed and oftentimes not necessarily accurate or up to date. So Green Flag Trails helps ensure that trail data that's been verified is up to date and accurate, and what the trail managers want trail users to be seeing and engaging with. We then have Trails in Nature as a task team as well. And that task team's been focusing on creating a white paper around the intersection of trails and biodiversity. And currently we have no chair guiding that particular team. So we're looking for someone to take on that role. We then have Trails and Media, which is probably the more exciting task team to work with. If you're into media stuff, it's all about hosting the World Trails Film Festival that happens every 2 years as well in conjunction with the World Trails Conference. And the film festival we've taken a completely different take on storytelling when it comes to trails and film. Instead of focusing only on adventure, adrenaline type short movies, we're looking at longer stories that tell the behind the scenes culture and dynamics of what it means to be a trail and what it means to be a trail user. So we're looking at really alternative stories, ones that connect us with culture and connect us with craft and connect us with the unusual side of the internal journey that happens on trails. So look out for the Trails.Film Festival. We've got some super films lined up for next year. And also, if you happen to come across any films that you think are incredibly inspiring and slightly different to what you might see on other festival platforms, please share those ideas with, or tell the producers or that to submit their film to the World Trails Film Festival. And finally is the Trails and Culture. Culture is a massive part of trails, and our team is based in Turkey. They've got extensive experience creating cultural routes, as some of the Americans might say, in Turkey. And I was not aware when I first got involved with trails how rich the cultural side of trails really is. So everything from pilgrimages to historic sites and sacred sites all involve cultural dimensions. And that's a really exciting team also to be involved in if you've got a leaning towards history and culture. So that's it, in a nutshell, some of the diverse focus areas that the World Trails Network engages with. And, you know, this team that we're trying to convene here with a global young leaders dynamic, much of the work that you might end up doing in this forum would most likely find ways of expressing itself in some of these task teams too. So there's lots of exciting topics that one can get engaged with. So yeah, over to you, Julie.
Well, thank you so much for setting us up and giving a little more information about what the work of the World Trails Network is. And as you all can hear, there is so much to contribute to and to learn about, and the possibilities are really endless. And so we're going to go now into our next session, just really thinking about what can we do together and what is it that you're interested in, what ideas you might have. And we've got a system of small groups that Delia is going to lead us through, along with some help and facilitation from Chase students, and we'll move into hearing your ideas and how we can work together.
So I'm about to put you into a small group. You've got a highly trained and skilled facilitator who's going to lead you through a process using an app called Padlet. So they'll be screen sharing. You don't have to get into the app yourself this time. And you'll be moving through 4 conversations. One about what would be the goals of a global youth forum. What name should we have? Right now the name is Young Leaders for Trails World Forum. Doesn't come off the tongue that well. We need a better name. So what could it be called? What meeting topics, sessions, events, possibilities, what could this group do? And then a network structure. So should there be a leadership team? Do you want to have some kind of governance? How flat do you want the governance structure to be? How often should they meet? What platform should they use to meet on? That kind of thing. So any questions you have can be answered by your able facilitators. And I'm going to pop you into those groups right now. I think some people want to the very last second. I just got. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry. Started to get some text going. We need more time, but I'd already I'd already closed out the room. So, um, all that shows is that it's important for us to have another conversation like this soon, so we can continue this work, which is exactly what we want to talk about during these last 10 minutes. So, I'm going to pass that back to you, Julie.
Oh, great.
Oh, I'm sorry, Julia leading. Just saw that. Okay, so sorry about that. Um, so our questions that we wanted to talk about all together were, what did any highlights from any of that group? How do you guys think we might want to continue doing this? Does it make sense to convene again? Does it make sense to continue these conversations? Having had your small breakout groups, what might any of you want to say to the full group about what next steps could look like to set all this in motion? So we're just have an open floor for conversation.
I know one of the things we talked about was like creating some sort of like group to stay in touch. So that could be like using like a LinkedIn messaging, like a LinkedIn group, or maybe incorporating like a Slack where we could have multiple channels to kind of stay in touch or connect. And then as far as incorporating more youth, I think one of the things we talked about was maybe some sort of employment opportunities for youth. So that could be a way to kind of get people engaged and interested.
Great, thank you so much. I'm just noticing that there's a lot going on. I just wanted to see a show of hands with LinkedIn messaging, Slack, or WhatsApp as ways to stay in touch. I'm just curious. We're just going to do a show of hands. What of those three, let's say, or does anyone want to add one to the list before we see which ones people prefer? All right, so we've got LinkedIn messaging, Slack, WhatsApp,
Discord came up in our group.
Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Discord.
Okay, so we're going to do a quick show of hands for your preference. How many people prefer LinkedIn messaging? Raise your hand. How many people prefer Slack? Raise your hand. Oh, P, did you have? Okay, wait, I'm sorry. P, you were on LinkedIn messaging. Okay, don't be shy. Okay, who prefers Slack? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. Okay, keep them up. I'm getting lost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like. How many people prefer WhatsApp? 1. Okay, keep them up. Woo, you guys are popping around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And how many prefer? Let's see. Discord. 1, 2. Wait.
I vote twice.
3, 4, 5. That's cheating, Shay. Okay, so 5. Well, it looks like WhatsApp. I know in the work that I've done in the international community, WhatsApp seems to be the one that a lot of people use, but as you might or might not know, it's not used much in the United States. So it's one of those things where do we want to do that or not do that? And what thoughts do people have about the best ways to create some kind of ongoing communication?
I personally think WhatsApp would just be the best. I use it a lot. A lot of people in my life use it a lot. I think it definitely depends on the communities. A lot of people in the US don't know about it, but a lot of Jewish people especially do know about it because you can use it internationally.
Yeah.
So lots of people I know use it primarily. I think it would be best personally though.
Uh-huh. I know it's the thing I use in my international work for sure. Yeah, our people, I guess everyone's always willing to learn a new app. We all just tried to learn Toucan. So other thoughts about what might be a good way to be in touch?
Well, on the flip side, I also use WhatsApp a lot living internationally, but it's much more personal. So I'd personally prefer a forum that I could like log into in order to engage with this space rather than having like my personal phone suddenly have a lot of like youth trail forum messages on it. So something like Slack or LinkedIn or a Facebook group was also mentioned, but I think that kind of also skirts that boundary would be slightly preferable from my end.
Mm-hmm. Other thoughts people have?
Also with Slack, Like we could have, I don't know exactly how WhatsApp works, but with Slack, we could have like 20 different channels. So there could be like a general channel which goes through and has everyone involved. And then there could be multiple breakups. So like if there's 6 task force for the World Trails Network, we could be broken up. Like each task force could have a little essentially mini group chat where they could go through and discuss matters. And we could like break up by like different groups, which is nice, as well as direct messages.
And
And I
Slack
think
had
Slack has a desktop version, whereas WhatsApp, I think, is only a mobile app, if I'm not mistaken.
There is a desktop WhatsApp.
Yeah, it has.
Really?
Yeah, and it sounds like Slack is really similar to Discord in terms of what its functionalities are. So if more people use Slack, then I think that, we can say one or the other. But
Okay.
the idea of channels, being able to have those separate conversations, I think is a huge thing to, letting people engage with the parts of this that they're interested in and not like the whole thing at once, because that can be really hard to keep up with.
Mm-hmm. And maybe keeping it out of people's personal lives. Like I hear that point. It gets a little convoluted. Well, if we were to go with Slack, is there anyone for whom that wouldn't work? Because we don't want to exclude anybody at all. You could just privately chat me if you want, if you don't want to raise your hand right now.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello. Whoops.
Uh-huh.
So that's a thought. I also think we had thought, but we wanted to hear from you, that it might make sense to have sort of a group that was meeting in like this over Zoom, for at the beginning to try to set some of this in motion. And I'm wondering based on your conversations, did that come up? And if so, is anyone willing to nominate yourself or nominate someone else here? Go ahead, throw them under the bus to be part of that group. Was that idea of sort of having some kind of steering committee something that came up in your small group conversations? I'll look to anyone to comment.
Well, what I would say, Delia, is, anyone who is on this group right now who's interested in furthering their leadership skills or furthering their international skills around engaging with different cultures and different people from different places, that steering committee would be a great place to learn some of those skills and to bring your own sort of unique views and inputs to a global space. So I would say, put your hand up. My experience is it's these kind of forums like this and the opportunity at a global level to engage doesn't come around every day. And this is a great space to really form something that's really at the beginning. It's like at its seed point. And it can be a lot of fun. So just I'd throw that in.
Thanks, Galia. I mean, I might assume that everyone here, I'm just going to, in my mind, squint my eyes and imagine you all have your hands up. And that we might send you a message to see about talking again. Since I wasn't in the breakout groups, I wanted to see if someone who was, does that make sense based on the conversations y'all were having? Yeah? I know Julia's been really successful at starting these groups, so.
Our group didn't quite get to that part. We were still on the communication channels. So we didn't get there.
Just a little short. Like I see we're at the top of the hour, and I want to make sure everyone so I think I'm going to say that we will be in touch, and we'll probably reconvene another conversation within a month or two. So you can expect to hear from us. So much gratitude to you for being here today. I feel so much hope that we might be about to start something big in terms of world youth coming together to really act as World Trail users and stewards. And the conversation feels really exciting to me, and I hope it does to you as well. Closing words, anybody else?
I'll just echo my gratitude and thanks. I hope you all are as excited as we are to hear all these great ideas. And I hope to see you all again soon when we do this again. Continue out.
Thanks for all your good thoughts. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
I'll talk to you soon, Delia.
Okay, we'll talk soon. We'll go ahead and close it out. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Dela.
Oh,
Hello,
yeah.
Dela.
Hi.
Sorry. Are you going to mail us for the next meeting?
Sure, we'll do that for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Great to
Yeah.
see you. You know,
No.
I've been working with a bunch of Nigerians lately
Oh.
on another project, and I'm so interested in Nigeria right now.
Nice. Thank you very much. Thanks for the way you lead the group. You are so excellent.
Oh,
More grace,
thank you.
more grace, more grace. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I look forward to talking to you again. Bye-bye.
Yeah, same here. Bye.
Bye.